It was a devastating night last night. Probably one of the toughest of my career. The toughest of all of our firefighters' careers, likely. It's one of the most challenging nights of firefighting in our history. Night turned to day because of the orange glow of the clouds and the fire that was happening. And the firefighters who fought that fire held that ground. They saved homes, too numerous to list, in West Kelowna estates.
And we're joined by Stephen Fuhr, a former Kelowna MP, and evacuated from West Kelowna. So tell us what it's like to hear, as you came home, that you're among those who needs to pick up and go.
Well, I mean, everybody's got a different situation. In mine in particular, I was actually in Vancouver when I got a push notification that this fire had started. And it seemed very insignificant given the number of fires that we get every year. So I just started to watch it. And then I started looking at the aviation forecast to see what the winds were going to do in the future versus what they were doing in the moment. And they were forecast to increase in magnitude and swing in direction to threaten, think cities and the north end or the central end of Okanagan Lake and West Kelowna. And I jumped in my truck and drove home. And I got home, and within 15 minutes of being home, it went from an alert to an order, and I grabbed what I could and left.
Well, tell us about that. Some tough decisions made under pressure about what to take.
Well, it was so overwhelming given the amount of time I had and looking around. I just grabbed the things that can't be replaced and threw in my car, went to see if the neighbors needed a hand, and we left.
So, and a couple of things, I guess. This morning you at least learned that your home had survived the night.
Yeah, and it wasn't looking good. I mean, many people watch this from all aspects, but certainly from the Kelowna side, you could see the fire all along the ridge over West Side Road, and when I left and watched things through the night before I went to bed, I was thinking 80% probability the house was going to be gone amongst all the houses where I live, and surprisingly, it didn't go. But the fire did, as we know now, further up the lake, north of the lake, it did come right down to the water, and it wiped out, we're still waiting for a number, but it wiped out a number of homes, and that's very, very unfortunate. It's going to be a big deal for a lot of people. And, as far as mine goes, it's still standing, but I just got a photo a few hundred meters up the road. There's a fairly significant hot spot, and it's burning, and the winds are blowing, as we can tell right now, fairly hard, and it's headed right there. So whether it survives the rest of the day, I don't know.
Yeah. It must. I don't know what that feels like to know that your place is so threatened.
Well, it depends what you want to focus on. I try to focus on how lucky, in my particular case, that I'm in. My son's moved out and on his own, and I just grabbed what I thought was important to me and left. There's people with young kids and pets, and they have a totally different situation than what I have. So, in my case, it's going to be not awesome if my house burns down, but in the big grand scheme of things, some people are a whole lot worse. So I'm lucky, I guess, in that respect, but I'm also kind of worried about everybody else.
There was a significant number of structures that were lost last night, and we're going to do our best to improve that and take it from significant to a number that means more to people, because I know that people are desperate to know. We're also going to do our best to get people back to their homes, but that's not going to happen quickly, either of those things.